Okay. Um, TikTok. So um, the 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 ruling, the Supreme Court ruling can, some people saying can issue a ruling as early as today, so
Mm,
maybe this afternoon we might find. But in any event, so most people based on their the questions that the judges asked, there is a
mm,
consensus that it's going to be banned. The Supreme Court will go along with whatever the government
mm,
wants. Um,
mm,
in light of that, there's something very interesting happened. There is a new term called the TikTok refugee. I don't know if you heard about that.
no.
So the the idea, of course, Mark Zuckerberg lobbied really hard for the TikTok ban because he wants all the people goes to Meta, goes to Facebook
Mm,
and other his company. But the people in TikTok are so angry. They picked another Chinese app called Red Note. So they flooded Red Note. They downloaded so many
mm,
apps, from the Apple App
mm.
Store that it was number 28 or something, and just straight to number one in a matter of like 48 hours. That
Crumbs.
many people, TikTokers, went to download Red Note. And it
Mm,
is 100% a Chinese company. It has
mm,
the Chinese government definitely have more control over it. It's not like there's a overseas version versus the Chinese version. No, there's just a Chinese app. And it's absolutely stunning to me because the name Red Note actually in Chinese it says 小红书, literally means little red book. Not it cannot be more communist than this. It cannot be more Chinese than this, but they picked one. I have to say, I give to the TikTokers, the young people. They
mm,
actually very resourceful
yeah,
and they really are angry. Obviously, they are.
yeah.
So this is a
That
big, giant middle finger to the US government, isn't it?
absolutely, of course it is, and it's and by the way, to the Supreme Court of the United States, if it does make this very, very bad decision, if I can say. But no, I absolutely agree, and anybody who knows how the internet works, by the way, but also how people who are on the internet, how they would respond. I mean, it does surprise me that it would happen on this scale, but that some people would do this, that does not surprise me because I can absolutely understand why they would be very, very angry. What has TikTok actually done?
Mhm,
I mean, nobody has yet told me
mhm,
what TikTok has done that has been a problem. It's provided young people, especially, mostly young people, with an opportunity to express themselves. We might not always like the way they express themselves, but that's what young people do. They want to express themselves. It's provided them with a platform where they can do that. It's been very successful. It's worked extremely efficiently. And now it's been taken away for no obvious reason or cause, all because of national security concerns, which have never been proved by
mhm.
anybody.
No. Well, actually, the Intercept actually reported that State Department, the Biden administration give exceptions to some people in the State Department. They actually allowed to continue to use TikTok after January 19th. It's actually
One,
very
wonder,
interesting.
one wonders what for, actually.
Well, it,
Anyway, never mind.
according to the Intercept, so right now they have a rule for government, federal government and its contractors.
Mm,
You cannot have TikTok on your devices, supposedly.
mm,
But the State Department have two exceptions. One is that there will be continue to people to monitor the
mm,
international TikTok. So those
mm,
people are allowed to have their TikTok continue. And also
mm,
apparently they have a lot of contractors. They contract content creators apparently working basically for the State Department. Those people
of
are allowed to
course.
continue to create content. It's pretty obvious. It's for propaganda, isn't it? Right?
Absolutely, that's exactly what it is. That I mean, to be honest, I find that all rather sinister, actually.
But the thing is, if they're doing that, then how can you justify, okay, TikTok is so dangerous, right? And it's you allow your own people using it. And that they all, not to mention Biden and a whole bunch of other people who are for the TikTok ban, they all have TikTok accounts, on TikTok as well. So
Yes.
if you say it's dangerous, why are you having account yourself there? So
Well, it doesn't make any kind of sense. But of course, the point is that it does ultimately have its purpose, which is that the United States, the authorities in the United States, only want social media platforms in the United States which are American and they can control. They're
mm,
very happy with other social media platforms around the world, provided that they control them also. And that's
yeah.
that's that's what this is all about. It looks to me like an attempt to control TikTok outside the United States. So you ban it in the United States, and then you maintain a presence and a role with TikTok and try and project it overseas too.
Yeah. But here's something else also happened. This
Mm.
little red book, the red note, because it's so Chinese, right? Of course, the website itself was totally surprised by this whole thing. The company was
Mm.
shocked by what's going on. But it is a lifestyle more than anything else. I mean, I have an account, and the things that push to me are about travel, about food, about
Mm.
interior design, those sort of things.
Mm.
So it's interesting in the sense that the people who coming from TikTok, they actually get to see China. They get to see the real Chinese. And so they discovered two things. One is the Chinese people are very nice.
Yeah.
That, because they're saying they call themselves, oh, here we are, the TikTok refugees, and the Chinese people saying, oh, you're welcome here, enjoy yourself here, And
Mm.
then there were some people even saying, oh, there's people there even never met me, said, hey, if you come to this and that town, let me know, I'm going to buy you a meal or something like that. They were so unprepared for this kind of a nice.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So they're saying we're not going to fight China. If my government
No.
start a war with China, we're not going to fight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight the nice people there. And
Well, go on, go on, go on.
the other thing is that they're also surprised at how advanced China is,
Yeah.
in terms of the transportation and also well-stocked supermarket and very affordable. So they also surprised to find out that. So I find that's very, very interesting.
I find that very interesting too, but again, that doesn't completely surprise me. Now, first of all, just a few things to say. When you try and start to suppress all kinds of channels, then people do search out for them and look
Mm,
for them. And if you lived through the Cold War in Europe, you will have found that that was so. So you went to the Soviet Union, people were listening to the BBC because the government didn't want them to. So that's not completely surprising to me that this dynamic is playing out. Um, about people discovering things about China that is unexpected to them, that is going to make the authorities extremely nervous. that I can definitely say, because I noticed it some years ago, back in 2018, during the World Cup, which happened in Moscow. That the
mm,
British government was actively trying to dissuade British football fans from going to Moscow
uh-huh,
at that time, just to say.
yeah.
And when they did go there were many of the same reactions that you've just described. People were really surprised that they were going to modern cities, that the
Mhm,
transport networks were good, that the food was fine, that the people were nice. It came as a really great surprise because every day, relentlessly, they're being told something else.
mhm,
And it was about China even more so.
yeah.
Because again, there is the cultural difference. There's the sense that, these are Asians, so they can't possibly live up to the standards of what we have in the West. And that does come as a surprise, and it does change people's perspectives.
Yeah. What I find interesting is that we talked about that U.S. government doesn't understand China. I have to
No,
say, I feel like sometimes, many times, the U.S. government doesn't even understand its own people. I mean, why
no.
do they, to pick up this fight with the TikTok users who are
Yeah.
American? Why do they pick up this fight, right?
Well, that actually is a very good question because TikTok is no conceivable threat in the United States. It's never been used by the Chinese government as a propaganda tool. It never has been.
Yeah.
I think that the American government was afraid that it might be, but the fact is, China has never shown any attempt to do
Interesting.
anything like that at any time. So why worry about this? But they do,
Mhm.
because again, they have this tremendous this ingrained belief that because we use our social media in a certain way,
Mhm.
China is going to use its social media in the same way,
Mhm.
and not recognizing that the social media is in fact different. They don't understand that their own people are responding to it in a different way.
And we can say it's totally backfired, this whole
Yeah.
TikTok ban thing. That I mean, it's so interesting. There were people saying, there were a lot of videos on TikTok saying goodbye to their Chinese spy. It's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And there were people saying, I signed up to Reddit and I use my social security number as my login so that my Chinese spy can get promoted faster. It's just hilarious things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And then there has been people saying that in the past that the Great Chinese Firewall is not necessarily to protect China. It's probably protect outsiders from the Chinese.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, because there are 700 million active
Mm.
internet users. I don't know if there is no firewall. Everybody come out and go to over the place and giving comments on
Yeah.
anti-China rhetoric on YouTube. I'm not sure YouTube can handle that.
No, absolutely. Well, can I just say, I mean, about this, I mean, we don't officially have anything like a firewall in the West, but
Hmm.
in practical terms, we do. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
when did you ever see Chinese social media platforms? When were they ever available to any extent to Western users? I mean,
Hmm.
they exist. Doubtless, there are ways to reach out to them, but it's never facilitated or made possible. Just saying. Mhm.
Yeah, by the way, there's still also misunderstanding that China bans Facebook and
Yeah,
um, actually Chi Facebook was in China for a while,
yeah,
but China has its own rule, the censoring rules
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
And it's Google and Facebook, they refuse to follow the Chinese law, Chinese rule.
Well,
That's when
that's
they
right.
have to leave. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, whereas TikTok has been getting out of its ways to try to
Yeah.
accommodate special requests from the US government. So
I think given what we've discovered over the last 10 years, again, for us to complain about other people's censorship is pretty
mhm,
rich.
yeah.
Just to say.
But I have to say, it's a great thing to see actually people contact each
Yeah.
other, communicate
Absolutely.
directly.
Absolutely.
And they
Absolutely.
are they are Chinese kids saying, okay, here's my English homework. Can you help me out? And then there's Americans saying, okay, here's my math homework. Can you help me out?
That's amazing. That really is that is wonderful actually.
Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
And it's given me hope,
Yeah.
despite of the
Yeah. Yeah.
populist government we have, but the people, we all realize we are the same, we want the same thing, right? And so it's nice that there's channels now that people discover by themselves to reach out to
Absolutely.
each other. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I completely agree. I absolutely agree. It is still hilarious that they're reaching out through the little red book. That really is hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. With that positive note, let's
Very
conclude.
positive note.
Yes, and we talk next Wednesday. Thank you so
Next
much.
Wednesday. Have a great week, so,
You
Sophie.
too.
See you then. Right.
Bye.
Bye.